She told me she was going to her ex's birthday party and made it clear I wasn't invited. I calmly said, "Have fun." Then I disappeared for 2 full days. Her voicemail slowly changed from irritated to worried to desperate as she realized I wasn't chasing her anymore. And I'm writing this now because 6 weeks later my apartment is quiet in a good way, and I finally understand what actually ended my relationship. And it wasn't one party. It was everything that came out after it. I'm 33M, and my ex Olivia is 29F, and we were together just over 4 years, living together for a little more than 2, and the night everything started was a Thursday evening that felt painfully normal. Pasta boiling, music playing low, me chopping vegetables while Olivia leaned against the counter scrolling her phone. She said the way someone mentions they're out of coffee. "Oh, by the way, I'm going to Ethan's birthday party on Saturday. You're not invited. It's just old college people, so don't wait up." And I remember stopping mid-chop because the words didn't line up with how casually she delivered them. Ethan was her ex, not a distant one either. They dated for years before me and had a messy breakup that Olivia had always insisted was ancient history. I looked at her waiting for the part where she laughed or said she was kidding or asked how I felt, but she just kept scrolling. I said, "Ethan, like your ex Ethan?" And she sighed like I was slow. "Yes, that Ethan, it's his 30th. Big group thing. You wouldn't know anyone, it's kind of vibe." And something about kind of vibe landed wrong. We'd been together 4 years, and she was informing me, not asking, not checking in, just telling me that she was going to celebrate another man's milestone birthday without me and that I should just accept it. She finally glanced up when I didn't respond right away and said, "It's not a big deal." And I realized in that moment that if I protested, I'd already lose because she'd frame it as jealousy or control. I felt that familiar urge to argue, to explain why this hurt, to demand reassurance. But instead, something in me went quiet, calm and away. That surprised even me. I said, "Have fun," and went back to chopping onions. She blinked like she'd misheard. "That's it?" she asked. "You're okay with it?" And I shrugged. "Sure, you're going either way." She laughed a little, relieved but also oddly disappointed. "Wow, okay, thanks for being mature about it." And that word, mature, stuck with me because what she meant was compliant. Saturday came and she spent hours getting ready. Not casual ready, not running errands ready. Full makeup, hair done, the red dress she wore to my cousin's wedding, the expensive perfume I bought her for Christmas. She emerged from the bedroom glowing and asked, "How do I look?" And I said, "Honestly, you look great." And she smiled and kissed my cheek, leaving lipstick behind. "I might crash at my friend Kayla's if it gets late," she added casually. "You know how these things go." And I nodded and said, "Have a great time." And at 7:15, she walked out the door, heels clicking down the hall, and the second the lock clicked, I turned my phone off, not on silent, off, power down. Then I packed a bag. Because here's the part she didn't know. My brother Mark lives about 2 hours away, and earlier that week we've been talking about finally checking out this new brewery district near his place. I texted him Tuesday asking if the weekend worked, and he'd said yes. So I left a note on the counter that said, "At Mark's, back Sunday." Grabbed my keys and drove. No dramatic pause. No revenge. Plotting just gone. I turned my phone back on when I got to Mark's. It immediately lit up like a Christmas tree. Texts from Olivia stacked one after another. "Hey, did you get my last text?" Then, "Hello?" Then, "Why aren't you answering?" Then, "Okay, this is weird." Then, "Are you seriously ignoring me right now?" Then, "Wow, so mature." Then, "Whatever. Enjoy your tantrum." I showed Mark, and he raised his eyebrows and said, "Didn't she tell you not to wait up?" And I said, "Exactly," and turned. My phone off again. Sunday morning, I turned it back on to 20-plus messages and a string of voicemails, and the tone had shifted completely. "Are you okay? This isn't funny. I'm getting worried. Please respond." The voicemails were worse. Angry at first, then panicked, then pleading. One where she said, "I'll apologize if that's what you want. Just answer." And another where she said she came home, and my car was gone, and she didn't know what was happening. And then one where she said she called Mark, and now she was pissed again. Mark had told her I was fine, and that was it. I spent Sunday painting a spare room, grabbing burgers, watching football, just normal brother stuff, and drove home that night. When I walked into the apartment, Olivia was waiting on the couch, laptop open, eyes blazing. She jumped up and demanded to know where I'd been. I said, "Mark's place. I left you a note." And she said, "You disappeared for 2 days with a note." And I said calmly, "You told me not to wait up." And that's when she snapped. That's not what that means, and you know it. And I asked, then what did it mean? And she said it meant don't stay awake worrying, not vanish. And I said it seemed pretty clear to me. She accused me of ignoring her, and I said I didn't want to interrupt her fun at her ex's party. And her face flushed. She said it wasn't about Ethan, and I said it was about respect. She tried to soften then, calling me baby, saying she didn't mean to exclude me. And I asked her to explain the dress, the perfume, the plan to stay out all night, and she accused me of twisting things, then cried, then accused me of jealousy, and I said I wasn't jealous, just done being disrespected. She asked if I was breaking up with her over a party, and I said I didn't know yet, that I needed to think, and that answer rattled her more than anger would have. The week after was tense. She cycled through apologies that weren't apologies, anger, guilt trips, promises. I stayed, polite but distant, and a week later she tried a new tactic, telling me her friend Kayla thought I was controlling. I said that was her opinion. Kayla showed up uninvited 2 days later and told me I was being unfair, that Olivia just went to party. And I asked if she explained which party and how I was excluded and dressed up for an ex. Kayla called me insecure. I laughed and said I wasn't telling Olivia who she could see. I just wasn't waiting around, and that seemed to short-circuit her. Argument. Olivia jumped in and accused me of doing it out of spite. And I said no, I did it out of self-respect. Kayla told Olivia she deserved better, and that's when something in me clicked fully into place. And I said she should leave as she thought my boundaries were unreasonable. Olivia stared at me like I'd slapped her, asked if I meant it, and I said yes. Either she understood why it was disrespectful, or she didn't, and if she didn't, this wouldn't work. Kayla called me manipulative. I said it wasn't manipulation, it was honesty. I left and went back to Mark's, where he handed me a beer and said if his girlfriend did that, he'd be gone already. I admitted I thought I was done, but hadn't fully accepted it. Sunday night, Olivia apologized again, but focused on how hurt she was by my reaction, not what she did. I told her the party hurt, but the defensiveness and bringing in friends and family hurt more. She asked what we do now, and I said I needed time. 2 weeks later, I came home to an intervention. Olivia, Kayla, and another friend sitting in my living room telling me my behavior wasn't healthy, that I was punishing her. I said the issue wasn't the party. It was the disrespect and the lack of accountability. They told me I had to forgive or move on, and I said maybe I was deciding I couldn't move on. Olivia exploded, said she didn't cheat, and I was acting betrayed. And I said betrayal isn't only physical, it's showing someone where they rank below an ex in nostalgia and appearances. She insisted she understood now, but couldn't explain why what she did was wrong without framing it as my insecurity. And that's when the argument shifted to logistics. She said she'd leave and take half of everything. I reminded her the lease was in my name, and I paid most of the expenses. She accused me of being petty. I said I was being factual. She called her mom. Her mom threatened. A lawyer letter followed demanding money and emotional damages. My cousin shut it down in one page, and then Olivia moved out with boxes that amounted to maybe a desk, clothes, books, and a lamp. Afterward, the apartment felt lighter. She told people I kicked her out over nothing, that I was abusive and controlling. A few people reached out privately saying this sounded like her last relationship. I haven't dated. I've rearranged my space, turned her desk into a bar cart, blocked Kayla, deleted an email from her mom about forgiveness. And when Olivia texted that I ruined her life, I didn't respond. Because I didn't ruin her life. I just stopped participating in a relationship where respect was optional and accountability was offensive. Maybe some people think I overreacted. Maybe they'd stay and swallow it. But I learned that calm boundaries reveal more truth than arguments ever could. She made her choices. I made mine. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not waiting up for someone who told me I didn't matter enough to be invited.